So, Harry,
Yeah.
have you ever been terrorized by a monster, fictional or otherwise?
Terrorized. Okay, well, terrorized is a strong word for this.
Yeah, sure.
But there was a time when there was a bear that was obsessed with me and kept following me around.
Mm-hmm.
A larger gentleman called Jason.
Okay.
But no, seriously. Being terrorized by an animal. Let's see. I've got a raven that's been stalking me at work.
A raven?
A raven, yeah, it just keeps sitting outside my window and distracting me.
Oh, wow. Okay, that sounds a bit bleak.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a sign that I'm really not engaged with my work at the moment.
Sure.
I'm so easily distracted.
So it's just this bird sits outside your window and eyeballs you.
It's been doing it for weeks.
Okay.
Every day for weeks. And you know what's distracting is the window's behind me.
Sure.
But I've got 3 monitors, and so it'll walk by and it reflects on all 3 of the monitors separately, like one after the other. It knows what it's doing.
Have you ever thought of letting it in?
Well, the window doesn't letting it in. Why did I let it in?
I let a pigeon in once and nothing came of that.
It lived with you for weeks.
I know, yeah.
I'm not letting that bitch in.
No, that's probably a good idea.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are picturing prequels, sequels, and spin-off ideas to Shadow in the Clouds. We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing other sequel pitches from our Twitter followers. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the original movie and catch you up with a bit of a plot summary. I'm Harry, the host with the most upper body strength.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not convinced.
Is there any way to solve this? Do you want an arm wrestle?
Not right now, no. Not
Right. Cool, because I would win.
Sure.
And joining me as always, the host with the most chance of crashing a plane if he was put in the cockpit, is John Lucas.
I thrive in the cockpit, thank you very much.
Let's look, John. Keep that to yourself, please. This is a family podcast.
It is? I need to do some editing.
Okay, so Shadow in the Clouds.
Yes.
What do you think of this?
So, yeah, this is a bit of a different pick for us. This maybe not a film you won't... This may not be a film you particularly heard of. It only came out last year. Obviously, with the pandemic as well, it kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
No pun intended. It kind of didn't make much of an impression. But I got this as a recommendation from a friend of mine who said to me, just watch it. Don't read anything about it. Don't Google it. Don't learn anything. Don't read any reviews. Just watch it blind and just see where it takes you.
Yeah.
And I can only echo that. If you're listening to this and you've not seen Shadow in the Cloud, and this might not be great for our listener figures, but press pause, go away, watch Shadow in the Cloud. Find it by hook or by crook. It is a short film. It barely qualifies as a film. It is, I think, like 73 minutes. It just gets over the line of like not just being a very long episode of TV. And it is a great time.
Yeah.
So that's your last warning. Go away now. If you enjoy films that take you on a true journey and are very unpredictable, go ahead and watch Shadow in the Clouds.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend it highly enough. You will have a great time.
This is one of the rare episodes where the episode is going to be longer than the film. But that's not because we're going to drag this out. It just doesn't take much beating.
Yeah, pretty much. It's almost certain that we will beat the running time of this film. But would you agree with me? This is a film to watch blind? Because I then passed it on to you. I kind of paid it forward and said, just watch it.
Yeah. I don't really know how you describe it otherwise.
Yeah, I just said it's a good time watch it. I didn't tell you anything about the plot.
Yeah, because I think the only way that you can describe it, you have to give away some of the reveals in it. And that's part of this film's charm, is it's got so many reveals.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of them you just don't see coming.
No, how could you?
Yeah.
How could you possibly see some of this coming? Great.
Yeah.
So that's your last warning. So, last chance. Pause it now. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, you!
Yeah, what?
Shouldn't you be more careful?
I'm plenty careful. Now buzz off, I'm busy. That wasn't my fault. That was a gremlin.
A gremlin?
Yeah, everyone's heard of gremlins. They chew up planes, screw up the navigation. They get their kicks from hurting us.
Gremlins are all in your head. We owe it to our boys to stay focused. It's not critters who cause accidents. It's careless airmen. It's your responsibility to be safe.
Shadow in the Cloud. Did you have a good time with it then, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you enjoyed this film. I thought you would. You'd have to work pretty hard not to. It is bananas. So, should we get on with a plot summary?
Yeah, do it.
Sure. Okay. So I feel like I'm talking around it a lot. So yes.
There's not much more to say about it without just
No,
getting
let's
into
just
it.
dive in. Yeah. So I mean, it opens strong. It opens with a old school like 1940s style cartoon about gremlins.
Oh, see, this I didn't find was a strong opening. This was like, right, what has John got us in for this time?
But you know, it's good if a live action film opens with a cartoon, you know, it's at least making some strong, bold choices.
It's at least something, yeah, definitely.
So that, which I would complain, that does give away the premise of the gremlins. I do wonder if it wasn't for that opening cartoon.
Yeah, but I think
It'd be even more surprising.
I think yes, but when you see it, you wouldn't be like, oh, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But when you're given the context of what it is, you're like, okay, now I kind of know what this is. Otherwise, I think you'd see this monster there and you'd be like, so there's just monsters in this?
I suppose
like,
you're right. It tells you it's going to be a gremlin movie, which is fine, yeah. So yeah, spoiler alert, this film contains gremlins. And these are the classic gremlins. This isn't like the film Gremlins from the 80s. These are giant scaly bats that just pull shit off planes, basically. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But not right away. So we get that cartoon, and then we also get, did you notice another high sign of a high quality film? This film was made by about 16 different production companies.
Oh yeah, I did.
I
Yeah,
did
it just went on and on and on.
None of which...
I thought it was taking the piss.
Yeah, it's so close to taking the piss. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just
None of which I've
kept
ever heard
on
of.
going.
Yeah.
You know what? You know, one of those things where like the production company has its little intro, and you're like, okay, this is the start of the movie.
There's normally like two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And like where one of them gets you, because it's a production company you've not heard of, and it's
Yeah.
like a camera, it's flying through some buildings or something. Like, oh, that's how the film starts. Okay.
Yeah.
And then a logo comes up. That is the movie of this.
It just keeps going, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down a small selection of the many, many production companies that funded this film. Endeavour Content.
Okay,
Never heard of them. Rhea Films.
great.
Hercules Film Fund. Automatic. The New Zealand Film Fund. And Four Nights Films. So that's just a selection. And none of those, not exactly Miramax, are they? Let's
Nope.
be honest.
Nope.
We're not exactly talking Disney. But
No, they're not Fox, not Paramount.
no, none of that. This is obviously cobbled together by a lot of different stakeholders. But again,
Did they all donate like $5 each? Because I feel
I can only assume, yeah. They pulled together and we managed to get the budget for something resembling a film.
yeah.
I mean, the New Zealand Film Fund, clearly this film was shot in New Zealand and funded in some part by the New Zealand government. Because there's not many films about New Zealand's contribution to World War II, but this film brings that in.
Yeah.
So after all that, we finally do open with a young woman arrives at an airfield, very dark and shadowy airfield. It is in fact a dark and stormy night in 1943, so we're in the midst of World War II.
Yeah.
And she smuggles us. Well, she didn't smuggle herself. She boards a fighter jet, which is named the Fool's Errand. Subtle, yeah. And there's a cartoon of like I think there's a cartoon of a sexy lady with a gremlin on her back or something. Like it's all there basically. The symbolism's set you up right away. But she steps on board this military jet that's about to take off. It's filled with a ragtag bunch of soldiers from all different locations.
It
of the
really
world.
is.
It truly is. I mean, number of soldiers on board, or I don't know, even soldiers, like number of staff on board, whatever you call them, number of servicemen on board, seems to come and go.
Yeah.
Right? The actual number of them is very hard to pin down.
Yeah, well, you rarely see them.
Yes, that's the thing. They're very rarely on screen, and no matter how many die, there always seems to be at least 5 more.
Yeah.
It's great. But
Which I think is definitely I say a symptom, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, but a symptom of the budget of this film. Like, it's such a low budget film that they were able to get some people,
Yeah.
but those people probably were paid for half a day's work.
yeah, they all did a little bit. Apart from Chloë Grace Moretz, nobody does more than. I mean, Love Simon, skipping ahead a bit. Love Simon guy needs to fire his agent.
Yeah.
How did he go from Love
She
Simon
used to fire her agent. what's going on with her?
I mean, she's just becoming a bit of a B movie queen, which I'm cool with that. Like, she was in
But
that.
like, she's been in some big movies.
Sure, yeah.
Like in her childhood, and she's got Tom and Jerry coming up. Not saying that's going to be a massive movie.
Yeah, I don't think being in the Tom and Jerry movie is a great sign that your career is on the up.
Yeah, but it's still something, isn't it?
It's a role. Did that film even do anything though?
It's not out yet.
Oh, is it not? Okay, I don't think that's gonna like set her off on the road to the A list.
No, but it's at least a film that like people have heard of.
Sure.
And she's been having things going on. Like she was in Kick-Ass. That was
like 10 years ago.
It was 8 years ago.
Okay, fine.
I think Kick-Ass 10. I don't know. But
No,
like,
see,
that was a franchise. She was in a Best Picture nominated film in 2009.
What was that?
Hugo.
Oh, Hugo. Okay. Again, that's 11 years ago now.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, she's an actor that people have heard of, that people know, that has been in big movies.
So is Love Simon.
I'm not denying it.
Okay.
Still has movies coming up, and is now an attractive young actress in her 20s.
Sure.
What's stopping her from being in every film ever? What happened to this thing that Hollywood was doing, where they were just putting all the 20-year-old actresses in movies?
Is this not a movie?
It doesn't feel like Hollywood, though, does it?
It's certainly not Hollywood. No, no, you're right. She's maybe doing the rounds a little bit, but I mean, she's the star. If a movie needs to have it,
yeah,
she's the name. What I mean is, like, Love Simon guy is in this movie. He's not even the romantic lead. No. He's like guy in Ship who like he has a couple of lines at the end. He mostly just reacts to things.
I didn't even recognize him.
No, it's afraid. I was like, I was kind of, I know you from somewhere, but what? And then I was like, oh my god, it's Love Simon. Like, I can't believe that he's in this. Like, yeah. So ragtag bunch of crew anyway on this boat. On this, I keep want to say boat. It's a plane on the plane. They're on the plane, and they are agog. Not just like surprised or annoyed. They are agog at the fact that a woman is trying to board their plane, but also seemingly at the very concept of womanhood.
Yeah.
Like Holy Simon, Love Simon at one point says, "Holy shit, is that a dame?"
Yep.
Like he's never seen one in his life. Like, so they're all just horrified at the idea.
Well, they've been at war for years.
True, but they're in New Zealand. They're not, I don't know. I don't feel like they're short of. They're not like in. It's like she's walked into the middle of the.
Well, maybe they've
desert.
not left. Maybe they've not left a military camp in a long time.
Sure, fine, whatever. I don't know.
But
it tickled me that they were so stunned and amazed. It's like, wait, hold on, wait, I just need to get this straight. You're a girl. They really need some time to process this.
Which makes it sound like it was like they didn't realize that she was a girl or something. Like she is looking extremely feminine in this.
Oh yeah. She's not dressed as a man. She is very much presenting girl.
She is also not dressed as though it's a war right now. Like she's wearing a full face of makeup and her hair looks immaculate. Like she doesn't look like she's in a rainy airfield.
No, I mean
she looks like she's just. I mean, apart from what she's wearing, but like she just looks like she's walked out of a fancy ball or something.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's grasp of reality is not strong. Let's be honest. So.
Did you notice a loose hydraulic hanging off the wheels?
Huh? A loose hydraulic?
The hell are you doing here? Get off now!
I'm on this flight.
The hell you are!
I'm assigned to this flight.
This isn't a joyride machine. Get off now!
What the hell is going on back there?
I'm commissioned to this flight.
Get off my fucking plane!
Do not touch me again.
You're right there, Jake. Who is that?
I'm commissioned to this flight. Orders from Major Reigen.
Seriously, what the hell is happening back there, guys? Is that a dame? I can't hear shit. Hey, is that an actual girl on board?
She introduces herself as Maud Garrett, who is a female flight officer, which again blows their tiny minds. Like they can't get their heads around that at all. And she has been assigned to the plane with a top secret mission, and they just need to take her where they're going. I think they're flying from New Zealand to Samoa, I think they say. It's, some island nearby. Yeah, and she's got a bag which is contains something highly confidential that they're not allowed to see. But she shows her papers and they seem legit, and they have to very reluctantly take her on board with them to transport her to the next island over, wherever they're heading, basically. But they're really, really not happy about this. And they tell her that there is no space for her in the main hold. So she's going to have to just sit in the mounted gun turret instead, which is kind of attached to the bottom of the plane. There's like an old school gun turret. It's like you sit. It's like the thing in Star Wars. You sit in it
Absolutely,
and you
yeah.
move the gun around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has to get in there, and there's no space for her and the bag.
Yeah. I mean, there is.
There is ample space for her and the bag,
Yeah.
and this decision makes no sense.
It is mistake number one. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, actually, saying that, I think she only makes one mistake technically, which is letting somebody else take the bag. It's like, so initially she's saying like, this is the most important thing. Like, you must take the most care of this bag, keep it upright, never look in it.
Yeah, she's very clear on that. Never look in the bag.
Yeah, like, I'm under strict orders not to let anybody see what's in this bag. I need to get it to Samoa. I need to get it to wherever it is that you're going. And it is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
It will stop the war or something. Like, she just give her some bullshit just so that they listen to her. And yeah, take it in the hold with you, you silly woman.
Yeah, I mean, also, we won't reveal just yet what's in the bag.
No.
But how long is this flight going to be? Because I feel like that's a problem.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. We don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. So she's stuck in the gun turret for half the movie.
Yeah, and from this point, I thought like this was going to be the whole thing. Like, okay, so they've made a set which is just the gun turret that she sat in, cameras pointed at her, and you don't see anybody else. You just hear them. You just hear their voices on the radio, talking to her, talking about her.
Yeah,
and she just has to act the rest of it. And I'm sold on that.
Yeah,
it's just an interesting little concept.
It was. It's like a little bottle.
Yeah,
story.
And so at this point, I was thinking that that's all it was going to be. It was just going to be a little bit of drama of them flying from A to B, and she needs to just complete this mission that we're probably never going to find out what the mission actually is. It's just, does she get to the destination or not? And yeah, sure, I'm expecting her to like shoot down a plane or something. She's in a turret.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting the film to just all be in there. And yeah, for the next half of the film, it is.
Yeah, it's like literally 40 minutes of just what the camera on her while she's got some headphones on, so she can hear them talking to her over the intercom.
Yeah.
But we don't see them particularly. We do get these fantastic character introduction shadowy scenes, which I thought were so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Every time a new person talks, they just kind of appear in shadow. It was like no set. It's great.
Yeah.
So she's having to listen to the crew, and they're all being horribly sexist towards her. Just really condescending, really rude, really dismissive. They don't believe for a second that she's actually in the military because she's a girl. No, she's a dame.
Yeah.
She's a dame. I mean, there is so much accent work in this film. Everyone on the intercom is doing a completely different accent, which I really love. Some of them are like very British. Some of them are like Yankee Doodle American, and like some seems to be from New Zealand. It's like they are truly like a Ben Sonad of like they're all over the place. But she's listening to all this horrible sexism, and we get all these character introductions of characters we'll never see again. None of it. All these introductions don't matter for the most part. We forgot to mention when she leaves the bag up with them, she leaves it with the one nice guy.
Yeah.
They're all dirt bags, but there's one who's nice, and he volunteers to take care of her bag for her, and she kind of gives him a meaningful look, and he does. So that we'll need to remember him.
Yeah.
But the rest are just cannon fodder, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And I'm guessing this whole section was basically to cut budget, because to like conserve the budget for what's to come. Because you're right, it feels like this movie's just going to be like an uber low budget, like, oh, it's all in one set, and it's just talking, and there's no budget for anything. But I guess, they had to save it for the 20 minutes of action that is to follow, but we'll get to that again.
Yeah.
So while she's down there, she spots something on the wing of the plane. And it looks very much like a gremlin. It's a CGI. I mean, it's dark. So...
Well, first of all, we just see like an ominous shape. And it's really building the suspense. And then like the camera will, it does a lot of those things where the camera will just look like an empty window that looks like a very innocent window, but it's so clearly framed in shot that like something's about to walk past it.
Yeah.
Or just like suddenly a shadow passes over it and it's really scary. And so you just don't really know what's coming at all. And well, like, you know that it's a gremlin because at the start of the movie you were told sometimes there can be a gremlin on a plane and that's a bad thing. So like, okay, that's what that is. But you don't know what it's going to look like. And considering the budget of this movie, didn't look bad at all.
It looked okay. I was impressed.
This thing looked really like it didn't look. It didn't look like it was pure CGI, but it also didn't look like it was pure practical.
Yeah,
because it wasn't practical; it was CGI.
Yeah,
but it looked great.
It looked okay. I mean,
I'd say it looked fantastic for what I expected the budget was.
Yes, relative to some of the other CGI work in this film, it looks amazing.
I would say it looked as good as the aliens in District 9.
Okay.
Because they, they didn't look like how modern day aliens or whatever do,
Sure.
but they looked all right. You know what? For a more modern thing, I'd say that this Gremlin thing, it looked better than the villain of Justice League.
Okay, yeah, I can get on board with that. So,
The new
one,
version.
yeah. I can totally get on board with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and comparable budgets, I think. Yeah.
What?
Comparable budgets, I think absolutely that's impressive because this film probably got made for a shoestring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she sees the gremlin anyway. But of course they don't believe her and they just think she's being hysterical,
Yeah.
the men. And it's all getting very sexist and condescending. At a certain point, though, they agree to release her and let her come out the turret and someone else will take her place, basically. But then as she's trying to get out, the metal lever, the handle snaps in her hand.
Yeah.
So she can't actually get out of the turrets. And then they're really pissed off at her because they're like, how did you break that? You're such a woman. With your stupid woman hands. How did you break this? Like,
How did you snap metal?
how did you snap full metal? Yeah, they think she's both a feeble woman and also like
strong.
freakishly strong. Yeah. Not consistent. So this just really results in even more sexism. And at a certain point, she snaps and she just kind of really lays out for them. And she's just like, I don't need to listen to this. I'm a decorated officer. God damn it. Like she gets very Kate Winslet-y in this scene. She really goes in. And of course, they just burst out laughing. And then they're like, right, you're a little bitch. You can just like, we're going to turn the intercom off and you can just cool down a little while, basically. So they cut her off and she's trapped. She can't communicate with them anymore. And she's still trapped in this gun turret. And then the gremlin attacks. And then this is when the film really kicks it up a notch. I mean, this film is a succession of kicking it up a notch.
I'm not sure if you've missed a bit or if it's still to come, but there is a bit where she sees a Japanese plane flying below them.
Yeah, I can't remember what comes first. Is it the plane or the gremlin?
Because she does still, because she tries to tell them about the plane.
Yeah.
So I think first of all you see like the shadowy gremlin.
Yeah.
And then like you see the plane. And then it gets to the point where she shoots down the plane, but like the intercom's still on at this point.
Yeah, I feel like the gremlin happens before the plane. I think. Because the gremlin attacks the turret at a certain point.
Yeah.
I think that happens first. I mean, it doesn't really matter what order these things happen in. It's all just nonsense. But the gremlin attacks the plane from her, like gets into the turret with her, smashes the glass. She'd be sucked out. I mean, they're at high altitude, right? But
I don't think it's a super high altitude. And they're not. It's not like a Boeing 747.
True, I guess. Fair enough.
Like it's a slow, rickety old plane. There was already a hole in the glass when she got in. So
fair enough. But anyway, the gremlins like smash the glass and it's trying to like open the door and properly get in with her, the hatch, I should say. And she's forced to hold the hatch shut with just her one finger. Her one finger through the through the metal holders,
the hole,
the rivets, whatever they're called. It looks horrendously painful, and I was winced out when it was just like, showing you what she was doing. I was kind of wincing for her, but then of course it gets very funny. But she also has a gun that she smuggled on because she's pretending she has a broken arm, but she's actually smuggled a gun in the cast in the sling, I should say. So she fires the gun at the gremlin, manages to shoot it away. Then she pulls out her finger. This CGI finger just cracked me up. This is the first of many big laughs that I had from the reveal of this like ridiculous overlong misshapen finger that she just pulls out and she's going like, oh my god, my finger. It's completely nuts.
Have you ever seen a broken finger?
No, I've not. Maybe it looks like this. I don't know. Does it?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. I've been fortunate enough never to break my finger. But yeah, so that happens, and then the crew of the plane, they hear the gunshot go off though, and then they're asking her, they turn the intercom back on and they ask her what's going on, and she lies. She doesn't say there's a gun. She doesn't say there's a gremlin. I think she knows that if she tries to tell the truth, they'll think she's insane. So she just she tries to smooth it all over, but they're not having any of it because they've clearly heard a gunshot and they're very suspicious of who she is now.
Yeah.
And they've also radioed for some kind of background check, and it turns out she's not who she says she is. Shocker. Her name has not come back with any kind of reference. So they're like, who the hell are you and what are you doing on our plane? And before she can answer that, that's when the Japanese plane attacks like fully, I think.
Yeah.
Because then it starts firing on them, and because she's in the gun turret, she asks for permission to fire, and then they ignore her, or they tell her no. I can't remember.
No, I think they're like she has to ask for a while, but then they eventually say yes, and then she's like, well, that's just being polite anyway.
Yeah, so that's because she has that fabulous line. She's like, I was just being polite, and then she like shoots very confidently and takes the plane down.
Yeah.
And so
from a distance.
From a distance, yes. Yeah. The Japanese, again, it's very Star Wars. It's Luke with the TIE fighter. It blows up, it goes down. Great. And so I guess she has briefly won their respect for shooting down the
I guess.
the plane. Very briefly, it doesn't last.
And also showed us that, like, yeah, sure, she's faked her identity and stuff, but she's not.
She's certainly capable.
Yeah.
Bagger, report.
Somehow she's overridden manual control of the turret.
Sir, permission to fire.
Is that a joke?
Sir, requesting permission to fire on an enemy attacker.
There's nothing out front, nothing out back. But Cash, she's going mad. Garrett, cool it.
Booking spot down low at 3 o'clock.
You want me to give you permission? You wouldn't even know how to fire if I did.
I was being polite.
Like, she must have some sort of military background.
For sure, yeah.
Like, I could say that I was an army general or whatever, but I probably couldn't get in a plane and shoot down another plane.
No, I doubt it. Yeah. But yeah, they're still asking her who the hell she is, and they are making all kinds of threats. So at this point, she admits that she's smuggled herself onto the plane with a fake name. Like, she's used her married name. She's used her maiden name, and now she's married, basically.
Yeah.
So that's why her name isn't coming up. But she won't tell them anything more than that. Meanwhile, the gremlin is still kind of just casually just ripping things off the plane, just like happily throwing bits of metal off the side of the plane, and no one can see it but her.
Nope.
I think one other guy claims he can see it, but nobody believes him. Briefly,
Is that the Love Simon guy?
I don't know. It was all voices. I couldn't tell who anyone was. That was the thing. That made it much harder to get a grip on like who was who and who was doing what. Because other than her, nobody's on camera for more than like a brief second.
No.
But yes, but I think that the crew are noticing that the plane is having some problems. Like it's obviously losing altitude, or because the gremlin's ripping bits off it all this time.
Yeah.
And she won't tell them any more information. So they decide that they're going to overrule her and actually open up the bag. And she's like, "Don't open the bag! Don't open the bag!" And they're like, "We're going to open the bag. We're doing." And they really build this up, and it's like what's in the bag?
Yeah.
What is in the bag? And what's in the bag, Harry?
It's a baby.
It's a baby. Did you guess in a million years that the bag was going to have a baby in it?
I mean, I saw it had an air hole.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
So I was like, well, it's either a baby or like, I wouldn't put it past this world to, it's like some sort of creature that's been made by a scientist or something.
Yeah, like it's full
that.
of gremlin eggs or something. I thought it was going to be gremlin eggs.
Yeah, well, I still thought it was like, this is going to stop the war.
Yeah.
Or something. It was like, yeah. So I really wasn't sure. I didn't see baby coming.
No.
Because also, that's not quite how a mother would act. Like, she'd let them take the bag so that she can go and sit in this very spacious gun turret.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no.
No, there are many, many questions to be asked about this part of the movie, but yeah.
But my God, does it suddenly raise all tensions?
Now I mean, from this point on, it's just a crazy wild ride at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So then the plane crew are all arguing about what to do with the baby. And then we hear the nice one, the one who offered to hold the bag, say, "Give me my baby."
Yeah.
And then we get the reveal that actually it is his baby.
Yeah, which initially I didn't clock the like, oh, it's his baby. Obviously I did when the character started saying it, but I was like, well, he's really taken a shine to that kid.
Yeah. He's imprinted. Yeah. Yeah. So then she tells her backstory, which I found very confusing. So it turns out that she is married, but she was married to an abusive husband. Bear in mind, she was like 22. But,
Yeah.
I guess it was the olden days. Things
Sure,
happened younger. So she was married to an abusive husband, and she had an affair with this pilot guy, this member of the crew, this Air Force guy. Got pregnant by him, had his baby, but didn't tell him.
Yeah.
But he just instantly knows it's his baby when he sees her. I guess he just intimates. I don't know.
Well, maybe he just knows that, like, oh, well, a year or a few months ago, we did the deed, and now there's a baby. Probably mine.
It must be my baby. Yeah, I mean, he just jumps straight to being, "It's my baby," super fast.
Yeah.
But also, what's the time frame of all this? Because she says that she gets pregnant by this guy, and then her husband gets really mad about it, so she decides to get away from him by pretending to be a naval officer. Sorry, a flight officer. Why do I keep thinking they're in the sea? A flight officer, and
Flying to a different country.
and forcing them to take her to a different country.
Yeah.
Which seems a very convoluted way to get away from her husband, but sure.
Well, I mean, it'll do the trick.
I mean, it will certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, when was this baby like gestated and born? What's the time frame? Like, did the husband think it was his baby until it was born? Is that like, did the husband look into the baby's eyes and like, they're not my eyes? Like,
Maybe.
what happened?
I don't know.
No.
I absolutely don't know. Maybe the husband has never seen the baby because maybe he's like been out at war for a year or so. So yeah, or like maybe he was an abusive husband, but she hasn't seen him in like 2 years.
He's probably been away at war. Actually, that makes sense
because of the war.
Yeah.
In the meantime, she's hooked up with a soldier who's just passing by.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, more than 9 months later, he's back, or he's still there, and is about to fly to Maui from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, I'm going to get on that plane so that when my abusive husband comes back and sees that I've had a baby with another man,
Okay.
he's not going to murder me.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah, let's say that's what happened. Sure.
But this is all speculation.
Yeah, the film doesn't connect these dots for you at all.
No.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, no, that was actually a very good explanation. You really connected that for me.
Great.
I was very puzzled. So she gives this whole backstory, and then they've got the baby, and she's still trapped in the turret. And then we hear the gremlin attack. Well, more Japanese fighter pilots appear. I think there's now another 3 planes attacking, chasing them. So they're in big trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the gremlin gets on board the plane. We just hear this over the intercom because she's just sat there. She can't hear anything.
Yeah.
And she hears the gremlin attacking the crew
Mm-hmm.
and stealing her baby, basically.
Yeah.
And then this is, I'm going to keep saying this is when it really kicks up a notch, because then we see
I think this is the most that it kicks up a notch, because from here on out, it just keeps going.
It's just madness. Yeah.
I don't really feel like it gets higher than this.
Oh no, there's a clear moment when this film reaches its peak, and it's not this. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. So she sees the gremlin like come out of the bottom of the plane, like a bit of metal falls off and it kind of swings out.
Yeah.
And it's now like hanging onto the wing of the plane, very precariously, with her baby in the bag.
Yeah.
Which either the gremlin or one of the people has thought to zip up again.
Yeah.
It zipped. I don't think the gremlin did that. So somebody managed to zip up the bag before the gremlin grabbed it. But it's kind of hanging out on the wing. The baby is like flapping in the breeze in the bag, and it all looks very bleak. And then she kind of gives the gremlin this death stare and goes, "You have no idea how far I'll go." Like she goes full like trailer line, and then she just fucking climbs out of the turret.
Yep.
And like monkey bar swings across the bottom of the plane.
In all the bullet holes from the Japanese plane.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, no, it took me a while to work it out as well, but I was like, it's probably the bullet hole. Yeah,
because I was going to say, because it does an amazing...
Why did the plane have so many handles?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say, because like the film does it in such a way as she's upside down, but then the camera this is 360 degrees.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. So first of all, she starts sort of monkey barring it, just like holding on by her hands. But then I guess she thinks that like, okay, well I need to like, you know, rip a bit of metal off or something. So she flips herself upside down so that like she can push against the bottom of the plane with her feet while she's pulling onto things. And so she's hanging off the plane upside down. And so then the camera flips 180 and I'm like, okay, this is making a really interesting camera shot. But then when the camera finishes that rotation, and so now the plane is upside down, so she looks like she's the right way around. It's like, oh, now I can just see how they filmed this. Oh, this is terrible. And it's just, you know, they've made the set of the underside of a plane, and she's just stood on it. And there's a wind machine pointed at her and a very bad green screen.
Yes.
And this is the worst special effect
It is
movie.
truly awful. But you've really thought about...
It would have been way better if they left it upside down, because then you wouldn't... Like, you know, you could still work it out, like how they filmed it if you were trying to find out, but it wouldn't be so obvious.
Well, I thought that they must have done this 360 degree upside down shot specifically so you wouldn't think too hard about what the hell she's holding on to, because she's no longer like...
Yeah.
I think if you would see her upside down, you'd be like, where are her fingers going?
Yeah.
But because she's like, to our eyes, the right way up, you don't really think about it too much. That was my only thought about it. Because I didn't clock that the bullet holes were what she was clinging on to. I just thought, like, how is she walking across has she got like magnets in her hand? Yeah. How is she walking across this smooth surface, like upside down at like 800 feet in the air? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
It's great. But then it's so ridiculous. Yeah. So then she crawls, like swings across the wing. So she's shooting the gun. Like the plane is like wobbling all over the place. She's like in the wind, you know.
It's being attacked by Japanese fighters.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Her hand is not steady, you know.
No.
Bullets.
She's got a broken finger.
She's got a broken finger, but she's like waving this gun around and shooting it at the gremlin. And her baby is like right there. And I'm like, you're going to hit your baby. This baby goes through it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my God, this baby goes through a
This
lot.
baby really goes through it. But she manages to shoot the gremlin away, like not kill it, but scare it away, and it scampers off somewhere else for a while. And then the baby is like hanging. I say the baby's hanging.
The bag with the baby in it.
The bag with the baby on it is like just on the edge of the wing.
Yeah, like it's so close.
The
to falling
strap
off.
is just there, and she manages to grab a little bit of lead piping from somewhere and just like hooks it on.
Yeah.
Swings it over her shoulder. The bag's over her shoulder. The baby's in the bag.
Yeah.
And then she's stuck in a monkey bar in it.
And then like she looks back towards the turret, and then the turret just gets blown up.
Oh, the turret flies off the plane because some bullets hit it.
Yeah. So like before that, I'm like, nah, the baby's had it. Stay in the turret.
Yeah.
But no, she
Save
stayed,
yourself. Yeah.
But if she stayed in the turret, she would be dead too.
True. Yeah.
So yeah.
She made all the right decisions.
Yeah. Somehow she knew what world she was in.
Oh, she 100% did. Yeah. So, I mean, her upper body strength. My God.
Yeah.
So she's clinging on by like a fingernail to the underside of this plane. There's bullets flying everywhere. It's going at whatever speed, God knows what. Somehow manages to pull herself up sufficiently to fling, and I do mean fling, the bag back into the plane.
Yeah.
Like once again, this poor baby.
Well, it's not even like fling it right back into the plane. She sort of flings it like to just next to the open hatch that she's climbing in through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, the smallest bit of turbulence, and that baby's right back out the plane again.
Yeah, exactly.
So close to falling out.
Yeah.
I'm like, even if like you're about to die, you just give that baby a push, just like with all your energy, just get it like 1 meter away from this massive hole in the plane.
Yep. Nope. She manages to swing it in, and then that's fine. It's secure somehow.
Yeah.
And then she's clinging on by a literal fingernail, and I was like, wow, they're really going for this. Like, how is she going to pull herself back up?
Well, like she slips and catches. So she's holding on by one hand, like her hand with her broken finger.
Yeah.
She slips, and then it catches on the little bit of fabric that she like bound her finger to her other finger with.
Oh yes.
Like essentially her cast, her bandage for her broken finger is now the only thing that she's attached to the plane
supporting
with.
her entire body weight.
Yeah. And like at this point there's literally nothing she can do, and I'm like, how on earth is she going to get out of this one?
Same.
And my God, I did not see it coming.
No, I mean this is the moment, and I was so annoyed when after I watched the movie, I watched the trailer. This moment is in the trailer,
really,
and I'm like, that ruins the whole movie.
Yeah,
the fact that this is in the trailer,
because I've been waiting for that moment.
Exactly, yeah. It's so much better when it comes out of nowhere, because I screamed like top of lungs screamed. I was like, what?
So like the bandage snaps, it rips, and she falls, and I'm like, shit,
she's dead. This is a turn.
She's out of okay. She's only in the first half of the movie. All right,
who's the hero now? Is it the baby?
Is it the baby? Is it the Love Simon guy? Is it the gremlin?
Yeah.
But no, and one of the Japanese fighter planes flies underneath the plane that she's just fallen out of.
Yeah.
I assume that the plane is already on fire.
It is. It's been shot down. It's already on fire. It's descending rapidly. Yeah.
And she's basically going to hit this plane like, what are the chances?
Yeah.
I'm imagining in Titanic, the guy falls off the back and hits the propeller. That's what I'm imagining. Just like, she's already dead. Don't hit her again.
Yeah.
But no, the plane itself, the little plane, blows up and explodes her back into the big plane.
Yes. Like ricochets her back into the big plane.
Yeah.
Where she lands unscathed.
Completely unscathed. Like, gets up, looks... Is it Love Simon guy? I don't know.
No, it's not. It's a random. But his facial reaction is the best thing about this scene.
Yeah, because and like she responds to it as well with the same face. It's just like, did that just?
Yeah, they're both looking at each other just like, did that really just happen to us? That
yeah. Was that real?
Yeah.
This would never happen again.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. But at this point, I'm still like, pick up the baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's right by the hole.
Yeah.
The plane's exploding all over the place.
So at this point, I was just like, okay, this movie knows what it is. This movie gets. I wasn't sure. I was like, is this a bad movie or a movie that knows it's a bad movie? And at this point, I was like, okay, this movie knows exactly what it's doing. That shot doesn't happen by accident.
No.
Like, that's a choice. So, So yeah, this guy is looking at her like, honestly, the facial expression is amazing. His complete and utter shock at what he's just witnessed, understandably so. And then he gets shot down.
Yeah.
Then there's like bullets strafing through the plane as the Japanese keep shooting at it. She kind of does a Lara Croft like action run across the plane with the bag still just swinging against, like bashing against her side, like up in the air. It's crazy.
Yep.
She dives into a corner, gets a moment of peace, unzips the bag.
You're expecting either like, at best, a crying baby.
Yeah.
Like, not crying, like bawling its eyes out.
Yeah.
That's at best. At worst, like a bag of blood and bones.
A bag of mush that was once a baby. Yeah.
I was also half expecting the baby not to be in there.
Yeah, like it's empty. Yeah, the spoiler alert.
Yeah,
the
they're just
gremlin
like
stole the baby.
like Love Simon has it or something.
Yeah.
Like that would have made some sense.
That would have been fun, yeah. If this whole thing went ahead and then she pulls and it's empty. She's like, "Shit, where's my baby?"
Yeah.
And then he'd managed to save it from the gremlin the whole time. Everything she'd done was a waste of time.
Yeah.
That would have been really funny.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, the baby is like, it's in there. It's fast asleep.
It is so. I mean, she does say she sedated the baby because she's a great mom, but but even so, this baby is altogether too relaxed for what it's been through.
Yeah.
Oh man, so funny.
Absolutely insane.
So that's really where the movie peaks, but we've still got a little bit to go.
Yeah.
The Japanese are still attacking the plane. Random people keep getting killed, but there just seems to be always more. Like crew members on this plane. Everyone that dies, 2 more seem to pop up. The gremlin gets back on the plane as well.
Yeah.
Pulls some. Oh, there's the one guy with the ginger beard and mustache who's like particularly sexist. I think he's one of the worst ones. But he like redeems himself at the last minute by like throwing himself off the plane to kind of distract the gremlin and save her and the baby. So he does that, and then she manages to push the gremlin off. And then there's another really funny scene where the gremlin is like, because I guess it doesn't so much
gliding,
it's gliding, and she's just throwing luggage off the plane to try and hit it. Like it's so stupid. Like, so then the pilot gets shot at some point. She goes into like the pilot deck, and it's Love Simon and also
cockpit.
The cockpit. Sorry,
You know that word, John. It's your favourite word.
Sorry, the cockpit. You're right. Yeah. So Love Simon's still alive. Her love interest is still alive, and there's the pilot and the co-pilot. So she goes into the cockpit, and she's talking to them about how they need to make an emergency landing, and then more bullets riddle through the plane. The pilot is shot. The co-pilot is shot. So then she has to take control of the plane. And conduct an emergency landing. So they do like a crash landing onto this island, on this mysterious island, and it's a very rough landing. There's still a gremlin. There's still planes attacking them. All kinds of things are going wrong. But they manage to make the landing, and they run off the...
Well, like, I think as part of this crash landing, because the film has already gone as over the top as any film ever could.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, well, we need to... Like, we can't just crash a plane. No. We need to, like, crash a plane, but really well. So, like, they get stuck in the nosedive at one point. She inverts the plane so it's upside down.
And again, the shot of just her hair, which is clearly just like a wind machine underneath her chin, just like blowing her hair up to symbolize she's upside down. It's great.
And, like... She's not even the one with the baby at this point.
No.
Like,
where is the baby? I think Love Simon have the baby.
Yeah, I think Love Simon's got it, and she's like, hold on to this baby with like all your might. Don't ever let this baby go. And he's like, yeah, sure, I will. And I'm like, well, what he needs to hold on to something. Yeah. You're going to fly this plane upside down. Him holding on to the baby is not going to be good because he's going to fall and crush the baby.
Yeah.
So, think it through. And so it's a pretty insane plane crash where, it's upside down for a while, but then it goes the right way around, and then she crashes, and wings fall off, and explosions happen, and all stuff like that. But she's fine, and we see it from like her point of view. And then when the plane has stopped, like she just takes a minute and breathes, and the film tries to trick us. I wasn't fooled. Into showing what happened towards the rear of the plane where the passengers and the baby were. Making out like that the plane just basically fell apart, everybody got crushed, the baby's dead. Like a big pipe has fallen on the bag and there's blood oozing out of it. Like it shows us that.
Yeah.
I could tell a mile off that this was just her imagination.
Yeah, they're not going to kill the baby.
No. Yeah, and so then Love Simon comes in and he's got the baby, and all happily ever after. But then she notices that like there's fuel leaking.
Yeah.
Like, sure, shouldn't somebody else have already noticed this or thought of this, that like just because a plane has crashed does not mean it's a safe space.
Yeah.
And probably the opposite.
Yeah. So she's like, we need to get off this plane right now because they've already crash landed. They're on the island now. She's like, we need to get off this right now. And there's like fire and fuel and everything. And another of my favorite little throwaway lines in the film is when Love Simon goes, wait, my hat.
Yeah.
It's really just random. Like, who cares what his hat?
Yeah.
But whatever. They run off and they do the classic Con Air level run off, jump into the air, explosion behind them, throws them onto the ground.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
So now we've got Love Simon, Baby Daddy, and Maud. They've survived the explosion, and baby daddy, who has not really done as much in this movie as you would think, considering
No.
I guess he's the romantic lead, decides this is the right moment to propose to her.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? We've been through some shit today, but this baby's been through a lot, so I think
Yeah.
it deserves a dad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get down on one knee and I'm going to propose to you. And she's like, what the fuck? As an audience, we're also like, what the fuck? This is not the time.
Yeah.
Midway through his proposal, boom, the gremlin comes out of nowhere, grabs the baby. Why does it want this baby so much?
I don't know.
It's obsessed.
It really is.
Grabs the
I
baby.
feel like it doesn't even want the baby. It just wants to taunt her because, like,
Yeah.
at one point, you know, at the start of that action scene, it takes the baby and just then hangs it off a random bit of plane.
Oh yeah, I think the gremlin's obviously supposed to symbolize something.
Yeah.
But yeah, male oppression. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway, so the gremlin then is like, I mean, the thing with CGI gremlins, like at night they look impressive, in the daylight less so.
Yeah.
This shot, and it still looks okay, but this shot of like the gremlin like just jogging away with the baby
Yeah.
under its arm just really, really tickled me. And then she just goes all like full Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2. Like she's just like, screw this. Like she
Rips off a sleeve.
rips the sleeve off, like runs, bombs it after the gremlin, chases it down. Bare knuckle boxes it. Just it
Yeah.
gets very Mortal Kombat from it. Well,
Yeah.
she beats it to within an inch of its life, and then she does a full Mortal Kombat throat rip.
Well, the thing that she does is she starts beating it like you say, bare knuckle boxing sort of thing. But then after a while, when it's a bit dazed, she grabs its own hand and then starts hitting itself. And I'm like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? And then she rips its throat out with its own claw. It's like, why are you ripping your throat out? Why are you ripping it?
It's a power move. Let's be honest.
It's great.
It's so fun. So that she rips the gremlin's throat out with its own fists. Then she kind of staggers, carries the baby back. Again, so many great male reaction shots. Just Love Simon and the love interest are just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Pulls it back. Yeah. Brings the baby back. Then she sits down and
I saw it coming though.
I mean, it's amazing. She sits down, you know, she saved the baby, she saved the day. She sits down and she just breastfeeds that baby.
Yeah.
She just whaps her tit out and starts breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And then the credits roll. We get this like cheesy 90s movie credit where it like shows you all the characters having a moment. Yeah. But it's so weird because like
You've not seen most of them.
most of us like, who the fuck are you? I honestly didn't recognize half of them. I was like, were you in this film? So it's got that cheesy credit thing for the cast. And then it just ends with, this film's dedicated to the troops.
Yeah.
It's got all these like actual historical footage of like women specifically women in the armed forces, which great, but this is not the movie.
No, I think it totally is.
I guess there's a very strong feminist like thing to this movie.
Definitely,
so,
yeah. But it just makes it great that it's such a ridiculous movie at the same time.
Yeah.
There's so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. How many movies do you see, just any movie at all, where somebody breastfeeds?
Yeah,
in a
not
movie?
often. Yeah, it's not
very
a common
rare.
sight, yeah.
How often do you see it in a silly movie?
Yeah, after the person who's just done the breastfeeding has ripped a gremlin's throat up with its own hand. Yeah.
And like she's looking extremely badass. Like one sleeve is ripped off. She's like been shot in the shoulder. There's blood everywhere, and she's muddy and dirty. And like it's a really badass moment. And she's breastfeeding at the same time. And it's like, wow, that is one hell of an image.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a great moment. It just really made me laugh.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
It's like, of course, now she's breastfeeding the baby.
Yeah.
So and that's the end. That is the crazy world of Shadow in the Cloud.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening, I'm sorry we ruined it for you, but still check it out.
Well,
it
you
is
had
a
the
hoot.
warning at the start.
Yeah, we did. So you've got no one to blame but yourself. But check out this movie. This movie is great. A great time.
Yeah, definitely.
Here they come. Taggart, take the Fort Ways gun. Doors are coming in from the main block.
You have no idea how far I'll go.
You have no idea how far I'll go! Come on!
Okay, so first drinking game I've got. Drink for bad special effects.
Oh yeah, I definitely had drink for terrible green screen.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I mean, it really does. It doesn't take away from the film because
Not at all. It adds to it.
it does because
It adds to because the film is so ridiculous and the story is no, it's not thin. The story is equally ridiculous, and it just makes me feel of like, what am I trying to say here? Like just old fashioned films,
yeah.
just old fashioned action films where just like it's very silly. It's unrealistic. It doesn't look great. It
Yeah.
looks all a bit sort of janky.
Yeah, like this film has all the hallmarks of like a bad movie. But would you
Yeah.
say it was a bad movie?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, it's got some bad ratings, some bad reviews.
Yeah, sure. I would say this is a classic, like a really good B movie.
Yeah.
Like it's very much a B movie. It's a low budget, or mid-budget, low budget film. It's very stupid. It looks actively terrible in places with the green screen, but it's funny and it knows what it is and it's got a sense of humor and it's got a point of view. So I think this is actually it's not like one for the ages, but it's a great B movie.
Yeah.
So and I think the bad special effects kind of leans into that. I think that a lot of it deliberately looks as stupid as it does. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but I'm going to choose to believe that a lot of it is deliberate, but obviously necessary because it wouldn't have got made for any higher of a budget than it had. But on the whole, I think this movie works for me. So I don't mind. The bad special effects only add to the things I enjoy about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but certainly drink every time. You can see very clearly that someone is just standing on a soundstage and someone's turned the camera upside down for them and put a fan underneath them. So,
Yeah.
very good. My first one, drink every time men are trash in this movie.
Yes, I also have drink for sexist remarks / drink when they doubt her.
Yeah. It just gets more and more cartoonish. Like and that first half hour, the first 45 minutes is just like, there's so much of it. And it's, there's lots of stuff like, oh, she's getting hysterical and all that kind of very, predictable stuff. But the men in this film are, with the exception of Love Simon and Baby Daddy, just absolute trash.
Totally, yeah. Drink whenever you see the gremlin or you see some sort of ominous shadow. Or
Yeah, drink for shadows of the gremlin for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's that classic, you see a gremlin, you're always going to get a little... You get like the flash of lightning. Did I say it? Did I not?
Yeah.
So it's very that. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, one flash of lightning, you see like something, another flash of lightning, whatever that was, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Did I imagine it?
Exactly. Yeah. Great. Drink every time the baby gets hurled, snatched, or otherwise abused.
Yeah. Yeah, that poor baby.
That baby is bruised from head to toe.
Drink for a reveal.
Ooh, what kind of reveal?
We've got baby reveal.
Baby reveal, yeah.
We've got baby daddy reveal.
Baby daddy reveal, yeah.
We've got the fact that she was married.
Yeah.
We've technically got things like that she's not a lie. She's lying.
Yeah. Does the finger count as a reveal? It made me laugh.
That's not a reveal, no.
The reveal of the finger was a big moment for me, but sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's all I got there.
Okay. Drink for strong accent work.
Nice.
Like I said it before, every character is doing a different accent. Chloë Grace Moretz does at least 3, but I couldn't really tell the difference.
Yeah.
But they made a really big deal about her accent changing.
No, yeah, her British and American accents are pretty different.
Yeah. She changes her accent. Every man has chosen a different region to be from, a different country and a very specific region of that country to be from. Like it's all over the place. It's great.
I would say no two are the same, but I genuinely don't know because I don't know.
It's hard to say. Yeah, they're all different, but they're all absolutely all over the place. Any more?
Yeah, drink for an overly badass moment.
Okay, sure.
It's not just a badass moment. It's one that's just a bit too badass.
It's like on the nose. It's very badass.
Yeah.
So obviously breastfeeding is a big one of those.
Yeah. I'm also going to do the upside down monkey bars while flying a plane.
Upside down monkey bars, yeah. You have no idea how far I'll go.
And also getting exploded back into the plane.
Getting exploded back into the plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
When she says I was only being polite, and then she shoots down the Japanese fighter. There's a lot of like trailer moments.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of trailer moments in this film. Yeah. Definitely.
This film must make a great trailer.
It's a good trailer. It's just unfortunate that it blows the greatest moment of the film because it's such I think the real thing of that moment is the surprise of it all. It's the complete what the fuck did I just witness out of nowhere moment of it. Whereas I think if you see it in the trailer, it kind of gives away what kind of movie you're watching. And this movie really unfurls in a way that I really appreciated. It doesn't tell you just how crazy it's going to be. It really you can tell it's a bit of a B movie, but it draws you in, and then it really just lets it all out. Yeah. It's great. So,
but in a world where
in a world
where you could go and pay to see this movie in the cinema,
sure.
Would people go and pay to see this movie in the cinema if they hadn't seen a trailer that had that in it? Because there's not much else that you can put in a trailer for this film.
Yeah.
To make it look like you really want to go watch it.
Yeah, it is a bit of a double-edged sword because you're right. Because the movie is very talky for the first half, your only option is to really give away all the stupid action in the second half. Otherwise, you're just going to make a very boring trailer for it that doesn't serve the movie. And you're right. I'm almost glad that as much as I would love it for this to be the kind of movie that you and me would have gone to see one night if it was like a slow week at the cinema with like no expectations and loved it. Also, we probably would have seen the trailer before some other movie and it would have given it all away. So I'm glad that we both had the opportunity to like go in blind because it really did make a difference for me.
Yeah. Last one I got is Drink for a Death.
Drink for Death, sure. I mean, there's not many on-screen deaths. Mostly it's just hearing people die. Yeah. We get a few.
There's definitely a few.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction face guy after she gets blown up, he gets shot dead, and a few of the other ones. The pilot dies, yeah. There are a few, but there's not as many. The body count isn't as high as you might think, yeah.
A couple of Japanese fighters.
Sure, but we never even see their faces. It's just the planes, but sure. This is my last one as well. I had drink every time a new character is introduced or referenced.
Nice.
Because, as you mentioned, it's like this plane is like a clown car.
Yeah.
There's so many people and you don't know who any of them are. And we get these fantastic shadowy introductions, which I mentioned before, which just look so ridiculously cheesy. But yeah, there's always someone new just appearing out of nowhere. So pretty much from start to finish. So that is quite fun. Trying to keep track of what the crew of this plane actually is a good time. So.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, if you listeners, if you want to hear more drinking games, more sequel ideas, more listen submissions, you can get extended versions of our podcast by going to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset. There you can subscribe for as much or as little as you like, and not just extended episodes. You get a few other bonus features, such as a bonus show where we review recent releases. You also get a 30-second advert slot in the main show. Talk about whatever you like. You're on podcast, you're in business, whatever you feel like. And also once a month we do Patreon episodes here on the main show. Pick a Patreon at random. You can come in, choose the movie, guess if you want to, but you don't have to. But yeah, it's a good way for you to make us do your favourite movie or whatever movie you really want us to talk about or subject us to or whatever.
Yeah, we've had some interesting Patreon picks. It's always a joy.
So yeah, all that available at patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Indeed.
Let's see, Alex. What do you think of Jaws, which is at 97% Rotten Tomatoes?
I find it to be anti-shark propaganda. What do you feel about the Entourage movie, which is at a meager 33%?
I think they finally got Hollywood right. How about It Follows, 97%?
Worse than your parents giving you the sex is evil talk. How do you feel about Juno, which is at 94%?
That would be a movie that celebrates a teenage homewrecker. How about Bewitched at 25%?
Best television adaptation ever put to film. How do you feel about American Hustle at a towering 93%?
Overwrought awards bait. Righteous Kill, 19%.
The movie that Michael Mann wishes he had made when he created Heat.
Sounds about right. I'm Julio.
I'm Alex, and we are the Contrarians.
As you can tell, our thing is that we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine.
Regardless of what we really feel.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn,
Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere.
Now,
Sequels.
Do
you want to go first or second this week?
Second.
Are you okay, fine.
Yeah.
You were very clear on that. You want to go second. Okay. I'll open then. I've done a direct sequel. And it picks up directly after the original. And it kind of picks up on my main question about this movie. The one that really stayed with me, which is, why do these gremlins want that baby so badly?
Okay.
Like, I couldn't figure it out. Like, what is the angle? So I'm thinking we're going to pick up immediately after the events of the original film. So you've got Maud, Chloë Grace Moretz. You've got Baby Daddy, Nick Robinson. And you've got Baby Daddy and you've got Love Simon, who is played by Nick Robinson. I don't know who played Baby Daddy. It wasn't anyone famous that I could tell. So the three of them are now stranded on this mysterious island because obviously the plane has exploded with the baby. And they're forced to kind of set up camp with what little they have and do a bit of exploration and hope that they can soon be rescued.
Yeah.
So, you've got an immediate survivalist situation here. However, in the middle of the night, the first night they set up camp, their camp is attacked by not one, but a whole army of gremlins.
Right, okay.
So there's a bunch of them all attacking them. And they manage to fight them off, the three of them. But in the confusion, one of the gremlins succeeds in stealing the baby and runs off into the jungle, like into the wilderness with the baby still in the suitcase. Is the baby sleeping in that suitcase? Who can say? I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. They've got the baby.
Yeah.
So the baby's gone, but Maud will not give up. She refuses to believe that the gremlins have just killed her baby. She will not accept that. So the three of them go off on a hunt to track down and rescue the baby to find out where the gremlins have taken her baby, basically.
Yeah.
And it turns into a whole quest in this mysterious island. They don't know where they've landed. It's very mystical, it's unusual, and it actually very quickly becomes apparent that the entire island is populated not only by gremlins, this is obviously where the gremlins live, but also by a bunch of other mysterious creatures, fantasy creatures, including fairies and dwarves and goblins and talking animals. It's a land of mystery and wonder.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Proper fantasy world.
It's a complete fantasy world. Yeah.
Yep.
Some of these are friendly, but most of them are not. So they get into all kinds of scrapes where they'll run into, nefarious creatures while they're searching through the jungle for the gremlins. There's going to be lots of misadventures and wrong turns and diversions on the way, but they're just really focused on finding this baby.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they manage to they save the life of a magical talking koala because, it's New Zealand, Australia.
Voiced by who?
Stephen Fry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that just came to me. I didn't write that, but it just came to me.
No, I like
Stephen Fry, yeah.
A wise magical koala.
A wise magical koala, yeah.
Yeah.
Who tells them that their baby has been taken to the lair of the Goblin King.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm liking where this is going.
Mm-hmm. So yet more adventures ensue. They travel their way towards the lair. I mean, the koala obviously points them in the right direction, and they have to battle their way through the island. Maybe. I've not really written anything else in for the koala, but sure, he could be like a sidekick.
Well, if you're not writing anything else, he's just a koala. He's got his own thing going on.
Well, I think his mobility is limited. Koalas aren't particularly mobile animals. Yeah. So I don't know if he can really come with them necessarily. But where was I?
The koala has pointed them towards the Goblin
Yeah,
King.
so they head off towards the Goblin King's lair. And after many misadventures, they get there and they sneak inside. But before they can get much further, they are actually captured by gremlin guards. Like their sneaking in does not go very well for them.
Yeah.
So they're captured by gremlin guards and they are hauled before the king, who it turns out has the baby. So as predicted, the Goblin King has taken the baby. And the Goblin King turns around and is immediately somebody who Maud recognizes.
Oh.
It is her former lover.
Oh.
Played by Tilda Swinton.
Very good.
Yes. So if you haven't picked up on this yet, maybe you've given me faces that I think maybe you might have got a hint.
I
of.
have.
Yeah.
I have the listeners.
It's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
I've gone for a Labyrinth thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like Gremlin King, Goblin King, Magical Land, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But I got the idea that this could be like a Labyrinth sequel, and then I was like, well, David Bowie's dead.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah. But then I was like, well, who is going to play David Bowie? If not David Bowie, then it's Tilda Swinton. It's been said many times before. She is famously looks a lot like David Bowie. So she'd be a perfect, if you're going to do a belated Labyrinth sequel, it's going to be this. So it's Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
And I thought from that you could add another layer to Maud's like ever-changing world of deception. Yeah, so Tilda Swinton turns around and it's Maud's ex-lover. And this is where Maud has to admit to the other two, to Love Simon and the baby daddy, that when she said she was married, she didn't quite tell the whole truth.
Okay.
Because it's 1943.
Yeah.
She wasn't married.
Sorry, is Tilda Swinton playing David Bowie playing the Goblin King?
Basically, yes.
So it is a male character?
No. It's a female. Sorry, no. It's a female character. This is where Maud, Chloë Grace Moretz, has to admit that she was actually in a same-sex relationship. She was in a lesbian relationship with Tilda Swinton, this Goblin Queen King, whatever. Probably like polysexual. I don't know. It's unclear, but very much.
Just say more words; it'll become more appropriate.
Yeah, sure. Well, what I'm driving at is that when she had the affair with baby daddy and got pregnant, this is why she couldn't even pretend that the baby was her partner's, because her partner was a woman. Yeah. So it was clear that she'd cheated, and that's why she had to do a runner. Basically, that's what I'm driving at here.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out, and she's learning just for the first time that not only was her ex a bit scary, she was also the ruler of the Goblin people. So that's a revelation.
Sorry, she's learning that now.
Yeah, she didn't know that. She just thought it was just like some lesbian.
Oh, right,
some
great.
butch lesbian. But no, now she's learning that her ex-lover was the queen of the goblins, which is that's something for anyone to take on. And Tilda, as the Goblin Queen, claims that the baby is actually rightfully hers, even though it's not her blood, because she was, in a partnership with Chloë Grace Moretz.
Yeah.
So even though she's not a biological parent, she's claiming the baby as her own. And she orders that Maud and the two boys get thrown into jail while she considers what to do.
Sure.
They get hauled away by gremlins, like to a jail cell. But I think you can have the repeat of the trailer while Maud is being dragged away, she has to scream again, "You have no idea how far I'll go." She has to do that again.
Sure.
That's the moment.
Yeah.
You have no idea how far I'll go.
You have no idea how far I'll go!
And so after thinking about it a little bit, the Goblin Queen makes the decision that she's going to force Maud to marry her again, have like a recommitment ceremony, maybe use some magic on her or something, so that the two of them can raise the baby together. And Maud obviously has no say in this whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's going to double as a christening for the baby, who will then be tied to the Goblin Kingdom forevermore. So it's like they're going to have a kind of magical marriage, and the baby's going to be christened as the heir to the Goblin Kingdom, and then it will never be able to leave this island.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone quite convoluted with this.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay. Good. So yeah, so she casts a spell on Maud, and makes her walk down the aisle, and then there's a whole marriage scene where she's like committing herself, and the baby's being christened, and it's all, it looks like evil has won after all. But then it turns out that Maud was faking the whole time, and the spell didn't work on her. Because it's all about I don't want anyone to rescue. I think the original film is so feminist. It's about her being like the power of the mother, and the power of the woman. So she's definitely going to rescue herself.
Yeah.
So I guess the other two love Simon and Baby Daddy is still in chains or whatever.
Oh, I mean, she could rescue them.
Yeah, they're still in jail, whatever. Yeah. But she pretends that she's under the spell, and she gets up to the altar. But then when she gets to the altar, just at that critical moment when she has to say "I do" or whatever,
I don't.
Yeah. She's like, I fucking don't. Like she roundhouse kicks Tilda Swinton, grabs the baby, runs away, like just bolts legs out of the castle.
I'd say instead of roundhouse kicking Tilda Swinton, grabs Tilda Swinton's hand, turns it into a fist. Why are you punching yourself?
Even better. Yeah, she does that. Yeah, beats Tilda Swinton up, does that, grabs the baby, runs away. Runs out of the castle, through the island. She's like breakneck speed. Obviously, the baby's just bouncing along on her shoulder, just on another wild ride.
Yep. So soothing.
Yeah. Runs. Gets to the beach of the island, where conveniently there's just a random rowboat just sat there.
Oh yeah.
Jumps into the rowboat, starts rowing to freedom.
Yeah. Out to sea. Out to sea
with the baby.
Yeah.
Into the mists, and the mists kind of envelop her and the baby, and everything goes dark. And then she wakes up, and she's still in the turret of the plane from the original movie. From the first 10 minutes when she got into it, everything with the gremlin onwards was a dream.
Right.
She's still in the plane.
Yep.
The baby's still in the bag.
Yep.
It's all been a dream.
Right.
And what happens after that, we don't know. That's for another sequel.
Okay, so all a dream, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Labyrinth was all a dream. The original movie Labyrinth was all Jennifer Connelly dreaming.
Yeah, but was it though?
Well, that's the question. You don't know.
Yeah, with Labyrinth, was it?
Well, maybe she wakes up and it's like, oh, it was all a dream, and the baby's still there.
But then there's a shadow outside.
We see the lightning strike, and there's a shadow of a gremlin flying by, and it's like got Tilda Swinton's face or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if good's the right word, but that was Shadow in the Cloud 2, Labyrinth of Mystery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good title.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Well, I think we can just agree now you win this week.
Okay.
Because I have certainly struggled to come up with an idea. Maybe you can help me. I've just come up with a few concepts, basically.
Sure.
So I've got one that I've titled Idea 1.
Okay. I can sense the inspiration just like dripping off every page of this already. Go for it.
So they're now in... Well... Yeah, it kind of leads into yours. They are now in Maui or wherever they
on an island. Yeah,
and they need to find civilization. They walk to where they think they're going to find somewhere, but the journey takes days as they've got injuries. There's like people are shot. Well, there's the three of them, aren't there? Like some of them are shot a little bit, and like they've got to find food for the baby and stuff. It's a whole big adventure, but they're being stalked by more gremlins.
Okay,
so that's
basically the same idea. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, it's kind of like the gremlins are still after them.
Sure. Well, yours could be maybe what yours is to kind of make it slightly different from mine. Maybe they do set up camp, and maybe yours becomes more like that TV show Lost. Did you ever watch Lost?
I didn't, but I know it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe they realize that they're not going to get rescued anytime soon, so they set up like a society. Maybe they find other survivors who'd also been shot down from planes, obviously during the war.
Sure.
So there's other humans, and they all set up a society on the island. But the island is also full of mysterious gremlins who are constantly attacked. Because like in Lost, it wasn't gremlins, but in Lost there were mysterious monsters that like stalked in the shadows and like attack people. So yeah, maybe it's kind of like that.
That sounds silly.
Lost is a silly show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's very unsatisfying as well.
I've only heard bad things.
Yeah, like it started great and then it just obviously it was clear that when they started writing it, they didn't know how it was going to finish. So yeah. Game of Thrones syndrome, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could do it like that. It could be like Lost. Yeah.
I also thought halfway through your idea when you start talking about different creatures that maybe they crash land on Skull Island.
Oh yes, that could be fun too. Yeah, I actually wrote that as well. Yeah,
that totally lines up with the style of this film.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what was probably giving it this old timey feel that I was having.
Yes, it does have a King Kongy kind of vibe. I agree. Yeah, you could definitely imagine that.
Yeah,
Mothra is just going to show up at some random moment. Sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. Maybe they finished the film like worshipping Kong or something. Or...
Yeah. Maybe Kong wants that baby.
Yeah. It's going to be Kong's baby.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all along.
Son of Kong, yeah. Yeah, maybe her ex was King Kong. He was a very jealous lover, yeah. She's like Fay Ray. She's like the original, the Godzilla's girlfriend, the character,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's
she retrained as a fighter pilot, because how else was she going to get up there to say hello to him? She had to learn how to fly a plane.
Sure. Idea 2.
Sure.
Decades later, it's the 80s or whatever, and Chloë Grace Moretz is inexplicably playing her own granddaughter.
Okay.
But it somehow becomes the exact same setup, but on a more up-to-date passenger plane.
Okay.
Which then led me on to a further idea, which was to like, okay, well, that kind of sounds like Snakes on a Plane. And then I was like, oh, what about Snakes on the Plane, but with this as well?
Okay.
So like a Snakes on the Plane kind of scenario, or exactly that, but with a woman defending her baby as the main character, not Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then I just started listing different ideas of how I could switch out the vehicle they're on. So you could do a film like this that Snakes of a Plane. You could also do it where they're on the Millennium Falcon.
Sure.
Because I
put it in Star Wars.
Similarities to this plane. They've both got the turrets on the top and the bottom.
Sure. Like if Princess Leia had smuggled a baby onto the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Like something like that, but at the same time they're fighting off the Empire. Like the thing is, that it's got to be that like trying to save this baby from a little monster while they're in the middle of
there's so much more going on.
Yeah, while there's like, in this case, World War II, or the plane is also full of snakes.
Okay, so
they're also fighting off the Empire, or the Titanic has hit the iceberg.
So just take classic action movie sequences and just drop in a mother and a baby in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So like the Avengers Endgame battle, and there's just someone has a baby.
I was thinking like always confined to a vehicle of some kind.
Oh, I see. Okay, sure.
Just to kind of keep it in a theme. So I've also got Titanic as an option.
Sure, yeah.
Which is a bit big. Going smaller scale, Apollo 13.
There's a baby smuggles on board Apollo 13.
Yeah, maybe like she's so scared of her husband that she has to just get off the Earth, and she's going to go and live on the moon. She smuggles. I don't know. She smuggles herself onto Apollo 13. Shit starts to go down, and she's like, "Okay, how do I help my baby survive this?"
This isn't a spoiler. This is absolutely not what happens. But this week I watched that film Stowaway, which I encourage you to watch on Netflix. It's pretty decent. There's no baby on it, but it is no spoiler. This is the premise of the film.
Yeah.
It's about how this like spaceship takes off, and then they find out that some guys just accidentally found himself on the ship, and they're like, "What the fuck? We're in space now. We can't take you home."
Yeah.
What if that was like a mother and a baby somehow?
Yeah.
Like,
Sure,
complete
right.
random.
Yeah,
What the fuck? Now there's a baby on our like 3-year flight, to Mars, our mission to Mars. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that.
And then like little green men start to try to steal the baby because of course they do.
That also works for Sunshine, which I've got on this list.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's the same. I've also got Snowpiercer.
Oh, I thought there were babies on Snowpiercer.
Yeah, maybe.
When they're eating all the babies on Snowpiercer. Yeah, it's a pretty grim film. Yeah.
But I was thinking like maybe Snowpiercer, but make it more about. Did Octavia Spencer have a kid?
Yeah, I think she had a young son who survives. It's been like 2 years since I saw that film, but I thought she had a son who lived, who was like, or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know, but like you could do that whole thing, but they're also being stalked by a gremlin or something.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Let's see. I already said Sunshine. I had Gravity, but that's again when they're all in space.
A baby! I'm sorry. The visual idea of a baby in like in a little baby spacesuit, so like with a little helmet,
baby spacesuit,
and he's like at a certain point he like floats away into the atmosphere, and the mother has to be like no, and like grab him back,
and then like. And well, maybe like she tries to reach out and she misses and like, oh my god, I've lost the baby. But then like George Clooney comes back,
yeah,
and he's got the baby.
Or she like lassos it. Just like... No, I love that. Yeah, that's the best one.
Gravity
A baby.
with
Instead of being in a bag, it's a baby in a little cute, like the cutest, sweetest little baby like spacesuit.
Yeah.
Just like being constantly floated out into the atmosphere, and the mother just having to like pull it back. Like no.
Yep.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
That really tickles me. The idea of that really tickles me.
Okay, well, I probably should finish there, but I've also got one more. Speed.
Go. Okay, Speed on a so Speed.
So it's on a bus that can't go slower than 50 miles an hour.
Sure. You know what I'm hearing from all of this?
Yeah.
Franchise of movies, action movies.
Just
Sandra Bullock and a baby.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock and a
she's
baby.
using that too, shouldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely like that. Is there any more movies that we can do where you just throw baby in just to up the stakes?
Sure. I mean, yeah, Titanic. I think Baby in Space, Baby on Gravity is the best one.
I don't think we're going to beat that.
No, but Baby on a speeding bus also works for sure. I'm trying to think specifically of Sandra Bullock movies. Like, what else has she been in? This congeniality doesn't really work for this. Action movie.
Was she in that Ocean's 8 movie? No.
Let's quit while we're ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Babies in Space, I think is this movie but set in space with little green men trying to steal the baby, or just Gremlins, space Gremlins.
Yeah. So
that was really fun. Yeah.
So I'll call that, instead of Shadow in the Clouds, Shadow in Space, Shadow in the Sky.
Shadow in Uranus.
No. No. Shadow in the Stars.
Shadow in the Stars. Okay, that's a bit more classy.
Yeah. No, John. As I said at the start, this is a family podcast.
Oh, is it? All right, fine, if you say so.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's that.
Okay, should we move on to listener submissions?
Yeah.
Now, this film isn't very widely seen, so we actually only have 3 this week.
Okay.
But yeah, if we can be part of spreading the word about this movie, I would say, like, I would hope that this will become a cult classic over time. We're just very early on the trend.
Yeah.
But the ones we have, they are pretty good ones. So Stuart King said Shadow in the Cloud. It's the exact same movie, but it's actually an episode of Treehouse of Horror from The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can 100% see.
Oh, definitely.
That way, and this is like Marge doing all this would be great.
Yeah, Marge and Maggie.
Marge and Maggie, this will be so much fun.
Yeah.
Be so funny. Yeah.
And so would the baby daddy be Homer?
Baby daddy is Homer, yeah. The gremlin is clearly Bart. Like,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Bort. Yeah, sure. I can see it, yeah.
Yeah. Would Lisa come into this in some
I don't know what role Lisa could play.
Yeah,
by its very definition, there's only one woman.
Yeah.
So Lisa wouldn't really work. So.
But you could have all the, like, you could have Lenny and Carl.
Mo, Chief Wiggum, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. They'd all be part.
Is Chief Wiggum the pilot?
Probably, yeah. He's certainly on board, yeah. So that's a good one. I like that one. Elaine McCann said, Shadow in the Shroud. Chloë Grace Moretz is tormented by gremlins while working as an undertaker.
Okay.
So obviously it's a pun, but I like the idea that, she's just working as a humble undertaker, but suddenly gremlins are trying to steal her baby and take it to the underworld. I don't know. And finally, Dan Adams said, Shadow in Cloud City. A single mother takes refuge in the home of Lando Calrissian, but it soon becomes clear she isn't who she says she is.
Oh.
I like that.
Okay.
Interesting, yeah. Again, maybe it could be Princess Leia. Who knows? So there are our sequel ideas. Thank you, everybody, for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review if you so wish. You can also support us on Patreon for as much or as little as you think we're worth. You'll get access to all our bonus features, including our bonus shows and the opportunity to get a 30-second ad slot on our main feed. You can find all the links in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, it is a pick for you. It's a free pick for you.
Yeah.
What have you got for me?
So I'm going back to a recently missed episode.
Oh, okay. Robot Mountain?
No. That's why I said recently.
Recently, okay.
Fine. Because we decided we wanted to do Parasite just in time for the Oscars.
Yes, so we did skip Armageddon.
Yes.
So that's what
we're going to do next week.
Cool. Armageddon.
It's by the way, now on Disney+.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. So easy to watch.
That classic Disney movie.
Well, did you see that Nomadland got released on Disney Plus this weekend?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Like, well, that's a real Disney. That's really good branding there.
Yeah.
All the kids are going to go straight from like Toy Story to Nomadland.
Oh my God, that film is so boring.
Well, I liked it, but whatever.
Do you disagree that it's boring?
No. I liked it, but it's boring. You know, things can be two things. Yeah. Fine. Anyway, we're not doing Nomadland.
Well, as in like Shadow and Cloud can be good, but it's bad.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we live in a world. Nothing's ever one thing. So yeah. Anyway, we'll save Nomadland for an inevitable Nomadland episode in the future. But next week, Armageddon.
Yeah.
A great pick. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll say along the same lines as this.
Yeah, in some ways, yes.
In
I
some
can
ways.
see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Just needs more babies. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how good would the tension be if, like, Ben Affleck accidentally brought a baby with him up to the meteor?
To be fair, like, this film is so silly that it didn't really bother me. A lot of the time, babies ruin action movies for me. Or, like, small children, because it's like, I don't mind watching a stupid action film if all the adults die. I'm just like, oh, who gives a shit? When there's a child, a very small child or a baby, I'm just like, oh, I'm not enjoying this baby in peril. For some reason, this film, I really found it hilarious. But most of the time, I'm like, it ruins it for me. So I'm not advocating for more babies in action films. They kind of ruin it. But this one was very good.
Yeah, and in Gravity.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, they're the two where it would benefit. Sure. But anyway,
cool.
Armageddon.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep, see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.